This week's episode of Lights Out is brought to you by...
Hey, Beth, how you doing?
Hi, Claire. I'm fine. How's it going with you?
Can I ask you something? Do you ever stink, down there?
Oh, yes. You know how dogs can be. Well, one day Rover went snooping around and went into shock. We thought we had lost him, the poor little guy.
Oh, wow, what did you do about it?
I started using Fanny Fong's foot freedomizer. Now my feet are no longer offensive. But Rover still doesn't come near me.
Ah, sorry to hear that. About Rover, I mean. But I'm glad your feet are no longer offensive with Fanny Fong's foot freedomizer. Can you use it anywhere?
Fanny Fong's foot freedomizer, free foul feet from Fumigus Funk.
Murph jumped in the back of Big Mike's truck. Jacob and Cara were riding with Curly near the end of the procession of vehicles. Curly seldom spoke, but when he did, you really had to listen to tell if it was profound or gibberish. He was one of the few people who hadn't lost a family member due to the world crisis of the last few years. He was a widower. He had lost his wife to cancer several years earlier, and they didn't have any children. He had always been a quiet man and a great neighbor who was always willing to help when needed.
They just stopped to pick someone up.
Yeah, Big Mike said we will recruit as many people as possible along the way.
I wish we didn't have to go to Zombieland.
I'm with you on that, but we need the parts for the fuel conversion kits, and Big Mike said some kind of tools.
Tools, huh? Is that what we calling them? Up their ass tools.
Cara and Jacob looked at each other and smiled. Jacob grew up 2 houses down from Curly and had seen him change from a happy-go-lucky guy to someone in deep pain. Curly was excited to be here. Maybe it was a better way to release the pain than sitting at home by himself all the time. No one spoke for a while as they rumbled down the dark interstate towards the city. Cara finally broke the silence.
I'm sorry. You know how I overthink everything, but I can't help but wonder, who is giving the orders? I mean, what if the guys are actually communicating with the other side and they are directing us right to them?
Our guys have been communicating with them for over a year. I think they would know if they could be trusted by now, don't you? Besides, we have to make it in and out of Zombieland first.
Jacob and Cara looked at each other, and then Jacob put his arm around her, and they rode in silence until the convoy exited the interstate just before the city. As they neared the city, the night air smelled of smoke, and they could see flashes of light from fires set by the cons.
You would think they would be out of tinder by now.
Why do they stay here?
They're probably the weaker ones. They can't compete with the others for houses. I've heard that they would have to swear loyalty and agree to be used in every which way to get into the gangs in the suburbs.
I bet they wish they were back where they came from.
Choices made, consequences lived.
Why are they pulling into a neighborhood?
Here comes someone.
A messenger was running from vehicle to vehicle giving instructions. The convoy would divide up and park along streets parallel to each other.
This place is deserted.
Yeah, who knows what went on here? It never was the kind of community where everyone looks out for his neighbor.
I see someone running, but it is mostly deserted. There's no way to survive here.
Curly, follow Big Mike.
Will do.
Curly parked behind Big Mike, who parked 2 streets over from where they were now. As the convoy came to a halt, passengers jumped out and ran to meet up with Big Mike and the other leaders while the drivers stayed behind to guard their vehicles.
Well, guys and gals.
There were a few other women in the group, mostly wives who would not agree to stay at home alone.
We are not here to fight the dumbass zombies. We need the parts and tools that have been set aside for us by some friends. With all of the barricades, we will just get stuck fighting, and will probably attract the wrong kind of attention. So, need a small group of strong and healthy men to sneak into the city and get our accessories while some of us create a diversion a few blocks over.
I volunteer for the accessories run.
Jacob did a double take as he noticed that it was Murph who had volunteered. What good is his skinny ass going to do? He thought.
Ah, yeah, count me in as well.
Jacob.
Lots of others volunteered, but it would be better if the group was small as to avoid detection. Big Mike chose Jacob, Murph, and 4 other volunteers.
Thanks, guys. Most of us will create a diversion for you, on Main and Person Streets. We need you guys to get to Edwards Fabricators on South Wilmington Street. It's about 10 blocks from here.
I know where it is.
Great. Here's a pew-pew for each of you. Hopefully you won't need them, but as a last resort, you know.
Big Mike hated sending these untrained guys into the city, but they were the only ones young enough and strong enough to complete the mission. Jacob pulled Cara aside and hugged her.
We're gonna be fine. I'll get us in and out in no time.
Jacob, don't be a hero. I don't know what I would do without you.
Who else is gonna do it? Murph will probably run at the first sign of trouble or go get stoned with the zombies. I'll be fine. Don't worry. Somebody has to be the hero, huh?
Cara smiled, trying to be strong, and they hugged until Big Mike suggested that they get started.
Good luck, guys. When you see the fireworks, give it a few minutes and then head out. You have the instructions for when you get to the building. We'll be waiting for you.
Jacob and the 5 others waited behind a burnt-out building for the fireworks signal. The silhouette of the tall, burnt-out buildings was ominous.
Holy shit, there it is.
Damn, what do we do? Set off a tanker truck?
Whoa! Come on, guys. Follow me and stay in the shadows.
Jacob and the small band of rebels stayed in the shadows as much as possible, making their way to Edwards Fabricators.
Okay, guys, let's hold up here. We got some zombies making their way to the explosion. The ones that can stand up straight anyway. What the hell are they on?
Oh. I would say probably another planet. Another dimension. Wherever the demon wants to take them.
I wouldn't have expected that from you, but I think you're right.
Who would know better, huh?
Let's go.
Jacob, slow down. Do you see anyone else walking fast? If we don't draw attention to ourselves, we can just ease on in and ease on out.
Screw that. I don't see anyone watching us. I want to get this stuff and get back to Cara.
Jacob was running. He stayed in the shadows, stopping at intersections to peek around the corner. He would start running again as soon as he crossed the street into the shadows of the buildings. This worked until he was about 4 blocks from his destination.
Hey man, what you doing?